Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the Gridiron Bangas. I'm Jake, and as always, joined by the same crew. We got Brayden and Bryson. How's it, guys?
How's it?
Shit.
So today, we got a special debate. Just how like we were talking about last week, we're gonna bring that debate starting today. Is Patrick Mahomes right now, age 28, is he better than Tom Brady at the end of his career? So Bryson is going to be defending Brady, and then Braden's in the boat of Mahomes is the GOAT as of right now. But so I guess let's start things off with Bryson. I'll let you start off this debate.
All right. So I do want to preface a few things. I don't know if maybe this was something maybe you're going to ask at the end, but I'll just say it now, just so there's some clarification. I think currently, right now, yes, Tom Brady is the GOAT. Is there potential that Brady could get overtaken? Maybe. The one thing I will say for Braden's argument is that at Mahomes' age, in from that span to the same age Brady was, at that same age, I think Mahomes has done a little bit more than what Brady did. But this argument is for currently, right now, in this moment in time, who is the GOAT? And to me, it's Tom Brady. I'm gonna kind of steal something I saw on YouTube in a LeBron Jordan debate thing. That kind of I felt epitomized like a great way to describe the GOAT, and I think it applies to like every sport basically. So the things you look at for determining the GOAT, I think, is one, achievements, two, longevity, three, winning, four, statistics, and five, the eye test, like entertainment value, right? So breaking it down, first off, achievements. I mean, looking at achievements, I think right now it's Brady. I think Brady wins that. More Super Bowl MVPs. I think they're just about close in the actual regular season MVPs. More Pro Bowls. I mean, yeah, granted, that kind of doesn't apply to longevity and longer careers. So obviously, right now, Mahomes isn't there, but this is an argument for right now, currently. So the achievements are there for Brady. Now, granted, that is because different eras, different careers. Obviously, Brady's been in way longer. We haven't seen the full career of Mahomes. But yeah, right now, there's no question Brady gets the check for achievements. Longevity is Brady again. Now, that's not to say that Mahomes can't get there, but we just watched Brady win a Super Bowl in his 40s and playing. I mean, I won't say at an elite level, but above average level as an old man. So definitely longevity goes to Brady. Winning, again, Brady, 7 Super Bowls, 10 appearances. He has ranks all time first in regular season wins, ranks all time in first in playoff wins. So again, winning. Statistics, Brady again, he's leads wins, attempts, completions, touchdowns, regular season and playoffs, yards, regular season and playoffs. Now, the only thing I think Mahomes wins right now is the eye test, the entertainment value. I will say right now, Mahomes is just more entertaining to watch than Brady ever was. I mean, Brady, they are different quarterbacks. Brady's more of a pocket presence. Mahomes is that kind of scrambler, can get it done on the ground. Brady really wasn't that type of quarterback. I will say Mahomes has a cannon of an arm, can throw that deep ball, I think probably much further than Brady could get it even in his prime. We're seeing a lot more Mahomes getting it done, crazy plays. Obviously, we saw that throw where he was, completely off the ground, threw its sidearm, knuckles nearly scraping the grass. Where we would never see Brady do that, even in his prime, even in his best years. We were never going to see that from him. Not to say that Brady wasn't, fun to watch, but it wasn't like crazy entertainment, flashy. It was just methodical. Uh, making the right play when it needed to be played, making the perfect throw in a tight window. And Mahomes does that too. So yeah, I think the eye test goes to Mahomes. But that's Brady 4 out of 5 for me. Achievements, longevity, winning, and statistics. I really don't think there's an argument to be made for Mahomes right now. The only argument I could see is that the potential for his career to be better. But right now, in this moment, it's just, to me, it's not comparable. Now, yes, that's partly because Mahomes' career is already over and Brady's is still going, so their stats aren't ever going to be comparable right now, at least not for the next few years, because it's going to take Mahomes the entire, almost as many seasons as Brady, because it wasn't like Brady really had any bad years there, except maybe for that last one was, and obviously his first years when he was the backup and kind of wasn't really a big name up until they started having some Super Bowl success with him. But yeah, I will say right now, Mahomes early on looking better than Brady did early on, because I think it's an argument of Brady had to kind of develop a little bit first. Obviously, he was the backup to Bledsoe, and even when he did get the start and he was getting them to the Super Bowl, it kind of really wasn't entirely him. A lot of that first Super Bowl win was a lot of the defense. I think he really only had one passing touchdown, so it wasn't like he was carrying the team. Whereas I will say Mahomes has kind of been carrying the Chiefs for the last 5 years. So that I will say Mahomes has over him. But yeah, right now I don't think the careers are comparable. Just Brady is a landslide away from where Mahomes is right now.
Take it over, man, for the McGoat.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm happy you brought up basketball because I kind of did want to make the. I don't understand why people are saying for Mahomes he's halfway there. He has 3 Super Bowls. Brady still has 7 now, so I mean almost halfway there. When we talk about championships in any sport, I feel like that never is a determined factor for being the greatest. I mean, we both can agree. We'll talk more about it probably when we talk more basketball, but we have Michael Jordan as the GOAT. He doesn't have the most rings. Stats aren't there to say that he's like the all-time scorer that goes to LeBron. All these things, but we still have Jordan as the GOAT because of just how dominant he was in that period. And I kind of put Mahomes in that same period. We have 5 years of him so far, and he has 3 Super Bowls, 3 MVPs, 2 MVPs of just the regular season. I mean, just looking at his team and Brady's teams when he wins those Super Bowls, Brady's teams blow them out of the water. He's filled with Hall of Famers. He's filled with other players in a sport where one player doesn't make a team. I don't know why it's a championship thing when Brady's always had the better team. Just look throughout his whole time. He's had Randy Moss. He's had Darrelle Revis for a year. He's had Stephon Gilmore, Defensive Player of the Year. Belichick is a Hall of Fame coach. I mean, I would say that's kind of because him and Brady had that kind of achievement, but he's had Junior Seau. He's had all these different guys, running backs, like Eric Blount was an amazing one, a Hall of Famer, but Curtis Samuel, Asante Samuel, he's always had all these talented players around him this whole year. I mean, his team has always been stacked from offense to defense with Gronk, Julian Edelman, I said Randy Moss. I mean, Aaron Hernandez was amazing for them before we all know how that ended with him. But, I mean, looking at what Mahomes has, he has no Hall of Famers, in my opinion, around him that was kind of established as talents before he got there. I mean, Andy Reid never won a Super Bowl before that. He was looked at as an amazing coach, but never in that kind of Hall of Fame status. Travis Kelce was just kind of another above average tight end, in my opinion. He was kind of barely top 10 in the league. That tight ends wasn't really that great at the time when he got in there. And with Mahomes, he's been that. Chris Jones, right now I don't see him as a Hall of Famer. I think he has amazing postseason runs, but without those postseason runs, his normal season stats aren't too crazy. And, I mean, what else does he have besides that? You had Tyreek, who was looked at as an all-pro punt returner when he got there. I mean, he's an amazing receiver. I don't even know if I can put him as a Hall of Famer right now. even with how his career is going, amazing receiver, but just I don't see the dominance that he's had as a kind of a run. So I don't know. Mahomes is just proven that no matter what his team looks like, no matter how, I mean, you've seen the Ravens, the Niners, we said that they had pretty much complete teams in this playoffs, and Mahomes, the whole season, we were like, this team looks beatable. They don't have receivers. This defense is kind of shaky. It's been a lot better than it has in the past. This is the best defense he has, but I don't think any of us had them really being elite, besides kind of what they showed in the postseason where they stepped up. But I still question how elite they really are. They have a lot of talent, but I don't think any of them even stand up to one of Brady's Super Bowls, even with Brady on the Bucks. You had Mike Evans, who's looking to be a Hall of Fame receiver. We see his record with 1,000 yards. You had amazing talent on defense. That's kind of what you saw it in the Super Bowl. I mean, Mahomes ran for 500 yards behind the line of scrimmage just from pressure and everything. I mean, the only two losses he really has is what against Brady is because the defensive line literally caused havoc for him the whole game, and then the other one is because Chris Jones was offsides. And other than that, Brady would probably be 0-2 against Mahomes. And then just with his postseason play, I mean, at the end of every game, if Mahomes has the ball and has the chance to win the game, he has proven that he doesn't fail. We have yet to see him fail in those moments. And I can't pick another player over him if game's on the line, Super Bowl, final minute, final 13 seconds, I'm taking Mahomes. He's proven that he is the one guy in history that has yet to fail. So I have Mahomes. I think he just plays with less talent, yet still brings his team to a Super Bowl caliber level every year, and making it to 5 and AFC championships pretty much every year he's been in the league is just, it's insane. I mean, I think, like I said last week, I think he retires now. He pretty much wins. I think he's the GOAT already. I get the Super Bowl talk. It's a team game. Brady took a lot less money to make his team so much better, which, I mean, great play by him. It worked out in the long run, but when you're paid in the 20, like maybe the 20th quarterback, like it's crazy. We talk about him as this GOAT, but he was paid 20th above quarterbacks, or in like that middle of the pack range. You can just afford so much, as we can see with teams like, I mean, the Niners. When you don't pay a quarterback, you have your stacked team, and that's what Brady had, but you still had a guy at the helm who was elite. So I think Mahomes has proven that no matter what you give him, he's going to turn that team into a Super Bowl contender. And right now, 3 out of 5 times, he's shown that he's going to win that Super Bowl with it.
Yeah, I think that's a strong point. Is it alright if I interject real quick, Bryson?
Go ahead.
So obviously, I'm on the same side as Bryson, where I still think Brady is the GOAT as of right now. Will Mahomes get there, surpass him? Odds are, it'll probably happen. I don't know how many years it'll take, but I think it'll probably happen. But I think you made a strong point, strong case for Brady being surrounded by all the talent, whether it's on defense and offense. So I give you that. That's probably like one of the strongest points. But I'm gonna throw it to yes, Mahomes is winning with less on offense, but I think we also got to remember he has Andy Reid, who is going to go down as the most brilliant offensive-minded head coach, if not in that debate of all time. So I think they can get away with having less, with just having Kelsey. And it's still amazing that, like we said last week, he won 2 Super Bowls with receivers like Darius Toney, Mecole Hardman, MVS. But I think we also got to remember that Andy Reid is also a big reason why he is who he is today. Like obviously, Belichick, he's going to go down as one of the greatest coaches as well. He's defensive guy, so obviously every time Brady has had to deal with a change in the offensive coordinator, offensive play caller. So he's had to deal with that his whole career, losing guys that are getting head coaching gigs. So even we just seen him leave New England and had success without Belichick. So whereas I don't think we're ever going to see this happen unless Andy Reid retires. So I'm just saying I think we maybe got to give Andy Reid a lot more credit than I think what he actually deserves.
I'll give it to you. Andy Reid takes a lot of credit just for the development, but I mean, I see it kind of both ways. I mean, yeah, and I mean, Andy Reid was always looked as an amazing coach, but I mean, he was never looked at as the most brilliant or like even going to be in that conversation before he got to the Chiefs or before Mahomes got there, because he had a year or two with the Chiefs with Alex Smith. Their offense was pretty good. I mean, we always could admit that he was great at offense. He knew what to do. I mean, but he took that next step with Mahomes, and I think that kind of shows you that. I mean, he's played with amazing quarterbacks. It's not his first amazing quarterback. I mean, you know, as an Eagles fan, he had McNabb. He was a really great quarterback. He had years with Vic, I believe. Yeah, he's had years with talented quarterbacks. But when he gets Mahomes, who we know who Mahomes is now, he skyrockets into this. Oh, he is one of the best offensive play callers maybe in history now. And that's where I think, well, on the other side with Brady, yes, you had Belichick, but that kind of saves Brady because your defense can help you win those games. Well, like I said, the Chiefs never had this elite defense, but Brady had a defense with so much star power, also being coached by one of the greatest defensive minds in history. I mean, it keeps you in games just by defense alone. I mean, we see what the Patriots defense did. They could keep you under 20, could keep you under 10, depending on the team. And I mean, Brady's always kind of had a run game with him. Well, I mean, we can admit that Isaiah Pacheco was amazing. This is kind of the first year they had a run game with him. Because, I mean, they had Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I mean, you see where he is now. He's on the bench, doesn't even get a touch. Can't really name too many of the other. Maybe Damian Williams. I don't know where he is now. Like, most of these running backs which Mahomes had is not star caliber or even starting level running backs. As you can see, none of them go on to anywhere else and be that starter. So now you're putting, yes, I get he has Andy Reid, great offensive mind, but it's all on him. He has to make every play. Your running game only does so much. It's not as strong as what Brady had. I mean, star-studded offensive line, had Hall of Fame running back, and if not, still had LeGarrette Blount, who was a starting caliber running back in the league, proved it pretty much year in, year out. But Mahomes had none of that. He has bad receivers, had not much of a run game. It's always on him to make that offense go. And if you can stop Mahomes, that offense is nothing. Because you take Mahomes off of the Chiefs, I can't say they make the playoffs. You take Brady off of any of those teams, I still think they make the playoffs. Maybe not as dominant, but I still think they make the playoffs.
Okay, I don't know about that because, like you said, Mahomes has been to, 5 out of 6 AFC championships in a row?
I think he's been to every AFC championship.
Yeah. Andy Reid did the same thing with the Eagles, with all these other quarterbacks. Most of it done now, but he's been to 4 straight NFC championships. So that's why I think he gets away. Not that he gets away, but they're capable of getting more done with less talent because of that. This is what I feel. But obviously, he got the golden ticket with Mahomes to, I think, push him over the top. Same thing with Kyle Shanahan right now, always falling short. But once they have that golden ticket with the star quarterback, the face of the league, then yeah, I think they're able to reach new heights.
I mean, to me, I agree that Mahomes has had less help, but I think it's important to understand that doesn't diminish. Just because Brady had more talent with him, that doesn't diminish his greatness. I think just because you brought up that Brady took a pay cut, that's not like, that doesn't make him any, like, not as good as he could be, right? Like, not as, like, that doesn't take away from the type of player, like his play and, like, him as a player. That's just business decisions. So I think just because he, we say he has these Hall of Famers and, it's up in the air whether some of these guys, I mean, Travis Kelce is a lock-in Hall of Fame. Tyreek Hill, I mean, yeah, I agree that one's kind of questionable. But yeah, I don't think that makes a difference in, like, who they are as quarterbacks. Because, I mean, I'll say that there were a few years where, like, some receivers Like, take Danny. I feel like Danny Amendola is the prime example. Like, absolute beast with Brady, and then as soon as he left, complete bum. Like, he was so overhyped, and as soon as he left Brady, just kind of crapped the bed. Wasn't really relevant anymore, and that was because Brady made him look way better than they are. I personally don't think Julian Edelman is really that great of a receiver individually, as an actual just pure receiver. And maybe that's an argument for another day, but yeah, I mean, I definitely think it's. I do think that they both bring the best out of their receivers. Um, so I think they both have that in common, where Brady can play, or I'm sorry, Mahomes can play with bums, but I also think Brady could do the same. I think Brady could play with bums as well. So I don't think it's a fact of just because Brady did have the talent on his team, that doesn't mean he couldn't be successful with the same caliber of talent that Mahomes had. Because it's a combination of things. Like Jake said, I mean, it's a combination of, Andy Reid's coaching, the play calls, the play calling, the playbook. It's a combination of things. It's not just, a blanket statement of you have bum receivers, your offense is done. You're trash, right? You can, and we obviously the fact that Mahomes can win with trash receivers is proof that it's not like just because you have bad receivers doesn't mean you can't be successful. So I think Brady could be successful if he was on the Chiefs too. Like if you swapped him, Brady on the Chiefs, I think he'd be just fine to have the same amount of success. So to me, I agree that yes, Mahomes has less, but I don't think that takes away from Brady's greatness just because he had more talent than Mahomes did.
I kind of disagree. I think it does take a little bit. I mean, I still have Brady. I mean, I acknowledge this debate. He is definitely top 2, top 3. I mean, probably is one among most fans, but I mean, it's a team game. We know that one player, I mean, quarterback has the biggest impact on a team, but when you take a pay cut, it's what, 20 million difference right now between Daniel Jones and a Patrick Mahomes. If you're getting paid 20 mil, talking about Chris Jones getting paid 20 mil. That's a borderline all-star player. That's the difference between that, and that just sets your team up better for success. It's a team game. Like you need help on the side, and Brady has a lot more. Brady did elevate the players of his game. I'm kind of with you on Edelman. I'm a fan of him, but I don't think he is that great of a receiver. If he never had Brady, it was just a match made in heaven between them two. But I'd never seen Brady really have the success that Pat Mahomes has with the receivers he has. Yes, he's had a year or two when he had the, like you said, Danny Amendola, Kendall Tompkins, I think was his name.
Chris Hogan.
That's not her name. I was trying to think of that earlier, but I don't believe he won with that being his primary. I gotta double check.
Edelman was his primary. Well, at least say one of them.
Yeah, I felt like he always had an actual receiver one. Edelman, I think, is probably the worst receiver one he probably won with, but I don't think he has the success if he doesn't have that kind of talent around him. I mean, talk about how close his games are. Amazing game against the Falcons. Came back from 28-3, but needed your defense to step up. I mean, they pretty much didn't score anything in the second half, the Falcons. I don't think Mahomes' defense can really do that. I mean, this year, maybe I wouldn't put it on them to do that, but I mean, definitely the last few years, I would never say that the Chiefs can hold out someone at any points. Other than that, what are we talking about? Him winning by field goals. He has Hall of Famers on the special team as well. I mean, he has 2 of the greatest kickers in NFL history he went from Vinatieri to Gostowski. We know how many game winners they've kicked. Yes, Brady puts them in position, but they're still hitting like 50 yarders, 40, 50 yarders. And you have Matt Slater, who, I mean, if you've been a fan of football, you know just how many All-Pros this man has just consistently been on as a special teamer. So you have just Hall of Famers on every side. Well, like I said, Mahomes, besides Kelsey, who wasn't really Kelsey before Mahomes got there. I can't name another player that's right now in a Hall of Fame trajectory. Granted, some of them are young. It's still, like we said, it's still really early in Mahomes' career. It's really early in most of their players' careers, so it's a little hard to tell right now. But at least they're key factor guys. Mahomes and Kelsey are the only two Hall of Famers. Well, Brady, I think I can pick any year Brady played in the NFL, pretty much past his second year, probably any year, and I can name you 2 or 3 guys that are in the Hall of Fame or projected to be first ballot or eventually get in the Hall of Fame. Well, right now I just don't see the Chiefs having that kind of talent. I mean, I just don't see any of the names there. Like I said, I think you kind of agreed. Tyreek is questionable, maybe eventually, but definitely not a first ballot. Debatable if he'll get in. And like I said, he was special team all pro before Mahomes got there. So I don't know. Brady's teams just were one of the greatest in history. With and without Brady, I think they still go down as one of the greatest teams in history. It's just having that elite quarterback there, it just puts you in that best team.
Few things. I mean, I disagree that Brady wouldn't have success with less. I think he would. I also think that you're downplaying a little bit that comeback against the Falcons. I mean, that's undeniably the greatest comeback in Super Bowl history ever, in really like league history for pretty much any playoff game, really. I mean, yeah, the defense got the stops they needed, but at the end of the day, got to put the ball in the end zone. And I think really it's a game of momentum, and I think they gain that momentum from them scoring, not so much getting the stops, because they can get all the stops they want. If they don't score, it doesn't make a difference. So I think when you pointed out that there's, like you said, with the game on the line, there's nobody you'd rather want. I mean, I'm not saying that I would automatically pick Brady over Mahomes, but I definitely think it's a tough choice for me to make Brady versus Mahomes, because the record is there. Brady has the most fourth quarter comebacks, the most game-winning drives in playoff history. So he's arguably more clutch than Mahomes is. Now, granted, that's also another factor. If we haven't seen the full career of Mahomes, maybe he'll overtake him in game-winning drives and fourth quarter comebacks. But as of right now, he is the definition of clutch. He is the definition of the perfect model for winning a game. So that, and there's one other thing I'm drawing a blank on, I think, that you mentioned. The kickers. I mean, yes, he's had good kickers, but I don't think, like, take Josh Allen, for example. I think Josh Allen played a great game in that championship. His kicker just missed. I don't think that's Josh Allen's fault. He got him where he needed, and I don't think we take away from Josh Allen's play just because his kicker missed field goal. So it'd be a different conversation if he makes it and they won that game. Then yeah, we'd be high on Josh Allen, and I know how you are with Josh Allen, so I think you'll agree that just because his kicker missed a field goal doesn't take away from how good Josh Allen played. Like, he got them where they need to be, put them in position, and he kicked the field goal. Now, that's part of the game, just because, I don't know how many the exact number is, but whatever the number is of how many times Brady has won by a field goal, that doesn't take away from the greatness of Brady, because he has to get them into field goal range. Now, yeah, some of them are pretty deep 50-yard bombs, but I mean, I'd have to look at, I don't know the exact number of how many were actually game-winning 50-yarders, but at the end of the day, he's got to get them close enough to where they even have a chance to get the get the field goal off. So, and it's not like Mahomes hasn't had field goal wins. I mean, yeah, we know that Super Bowl was off that touchdown. But yeah, they don't make it to overtime without Butker. So I think it goes both ways. I mean, we can say without Butker, Mahomes wouldn't be there. Without Vinatieri, Janikowski, or not Janikowski, Vinatieri and Gostkowski. The Kowskis, yeah. Ends with ski. I mean, it like I said, it goes both ways. So I think that just because, Mahomes has a few like game-winning touchdowns, and I'm sure Brady has some too. Probably, I'm gonna assume more just off of the longevity. He's had more chances to do it. He's definitely probably had more game-winning touchdowns, but I don't think that like is one way or the other. Like, I'm not gonna look at just because he has more game-winning touchdowns than field goals or field goals than touchdowns. I think they kind of are the same. It's game-winning regardless. Because either way, you as the quarterback got to get them there, whether it's a touchdown or a field goal. Because games aren't won just off of touchdowns. We know that it's not every game plan is meant to. You're going to score on every play. You're going to score on every potential game-winning possession or a touchdown. Like some game plans are to get to field, like with the intent of a field goal. Yeah, we want to score a touchdown, but really, your main focus is getting into field goal range. So, I don't know. To me, it goes both ways. I think if you're gonna critique Brady on it, you got to critique Mahomes too.
I have two rebuttals. First, I kind of was downplaying, but I mean, the defense just played as big a part in that Falcons game. I mean, like I said, they pretty much didn't let them score. Then that second half, the Falcons were just trying to run out clock most of the time. You give a first down, that takes off so much time. We all know Brady barely had enough time to even send the game to overtime. Like, they scored pretty much at the end of regulation to tie the game, send them to overtime. And you know what Brady did then. But that defense still needed to step up. Yes, offense needed to score, but it doesn't matter if the offense scored. If the Falcons scored one more point, we're not talking about Brady having the greatest comeback anymore. We're talking about the Falcons having their first win. Brady has another loss on his record. So many things. So I feel like that defense played just as big a part as Brady did. It's just, we know how the NFL loves offense. We're always going to give the props to the offense, but I think defense should get just as much props because, I mean, can't let them get up anything. You can't even give up first downs because that it takes off so much time. And how down you guys were, every stop mattered. No matter if it was just one first down or 3 and out. It was a huge difference between just those two results. And then for the second one, I'm thankful you brought up the Josh Allen and the missing the field goal, because that's kind of what I'm talking about. Is it changes the way we see these players. Because, I mean, yes, we saw it recently, so we can still talk about it. But going 2 years later, or, I mean, even a week after, I saw posts where they're like, oh, is Josh Allen even that great? He's never made it to a championship conference game. And that's because his kicker missed. We all say it wasn't on Josh Allen, but at the end of the day, we can't say anything else other than Josh Allen lost. Like, we never got to see him play another game. We never got to see him in that conference game, and it wasn't his fault. Yet Brady had these reasons that kept him in these games, that kept him moving on and progressing every round, was because of the help of other teammates that put him in this position that let him get to these Super Bowls and win them. So I give credit to Brady. He did a lot, but his team helped make up for some of the mistakes he made. Because no quarterback's perfect. We know all of them throw a pick. Not all of them are perfect 100% every game. But the team definitely helped him get to those games, which puts him in these debates where he can show that he played great in these games because he got there. Well, we have teams, like you said, Josh Allen, amazing game. Justin Herbert's looking at one of the best QBs right now, yet what has he done? He doesn't have the team around him, doesn't have the wins. Talented quarterback is amazing and all, but you still need a team around them to be able to escalate, be able to be put in those games so that we can have these conversations about them. Because, like I said, at the end of the day, Josh Allen's still being talked about, a guy who's never made it to the conference championship game. and that's going to be the biggest knock on him. And in 2 years, we'll probably forget how that game ends, and it's just another stat. Mahomes is 2-0 against Josh Allen. That's how NFL goes. You're never going to remember everything from every game, but at the end of the day, it's the win and the loss, and no one's going to remember, oh, it wasn't Mahomes. It wasn't Allen's fault that game.
So, I have something for that then. It's like, to me, it goes back to if you're going to criticize Brady, you got to criticize Mahomes. And so this Super Bowl run, if not for their defense this year, if not for Snead punching that ball out at the end zone, that's a touchdown. Definitely a different game with the Ravens. If not for that interception there, Lamar was kind of driving them downfield and looking really strong on that drive, and then they got the pick. And then the one before where they had that forced fumble, they were looking really good, just kind of tearing up that defense. And then the defense stepped up. So, I mean, let's not pretend that Mahomes has had some help. If Chris Jones isn't there in Purdy's face, there's arguably 1 or 2 touchdowns they get from that. Much different game. Definitely changes momentum if they scored there with a touchdown instead of a field goal. So, I mean, there's definitely a lot of plays, especially this year. I mean, I won't say in the other ones that, you know, he was saved by the defense, but I think this year definitely we're not, like you said, we'd be talking about Brock Purdy and not Mahomes right now. We probably wouldn't be having this conversation, especially if the narrative would be that he lost to Brock Purdy. And the only reason, or not the only reason, but one of the big reasons was Chris Jones that game. If you look at the tape, he disrupted a lot of big plays when they needed it most. And, yeah, that one in particular where it was a wide-open touchdown would have been a touchdown if not for Jones. So, yeah, Mahomes did his part, but his defense also stepped up really big. So I think if you're going to criticize Brady for that, you got to criticize Mahomes too. So, like I said, it goes both ways.
Oh, also, man, I'm just a Brady hater, but we won't let this go on too much longer. We can keep going back and forth.
No, we can just go back and forth. But, yeah, I just wanted to point that out,
Yeah, so...
I mean, the same thing you said about Brady, I could say for Mahomes. At least for this Super Bowl run.
Yeah.
I will say in the last few years, his defense...
Did not
they weren't as great. But yeah, this year for sure. But...
Do you want to throw something in, Jake?
Yeah, one last thing. Or first off, don't underrate Harrison Butker. He's just as good as them. He is awesome.
Butker, I mean, he's got the record for the longest field goal in Super Bowl history.
He's great.
So.
He's as good as Gostkowski. I'll say that. He's clutch. You don't pay attention to him. I got him in fantasy every year, so.
Oh, he's amazing. I'm not taking...
Exactly.
Okay, I did not give him his props. He's an amazing kicker. I don't know if I can put him yet in those guys' ranges, but he is on track for that. I will give him that. Yes.
Well, then that's the same thing with...
Just for kickers.
Brady versus Mahomes.
Just for kickers. That's all I was saying.
Right now, you can't put Butker over Vinatieri, but potentially you could.
But
so
no,
I don't think it's going to happen, but I think he will be in that.
You should just be consistent. You should just. I would have preferred if you just said yes, Butker's better than Vinatieri right now. Then I would have been like, all right, at least he's consistent with it, you know.
But no, I got one last thing before one last thing. So I think it's both right, both sides. Make a case for either one, right? The one thing I'm going to go back to is Brady, right? He overlapped with the era that defenders can do anything they want to the offensive side of the ball. They can pick up and slam quarterbacks on their head. Shoot, he played in the era with Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, them, right? Troy Polamalu. Whereas, like I said, he overlapped with that era to the era where the NFL was pushing offense, just constant offense. Defenders trying to figure out how to play the game safely, quote unquote. And we just seen, I mean, maybe not this Super Bowl, the last Super Bowl with Mahomes got some help right there with the calling flags on every single tug the defenders have right. That was it. Obviously, yeah, I'm gonna say that's a tacky flag they call on James Bradbury, but that's one of the things right there. He's playing in the era where offense is everything. Offensive players will get away with everything. They'll get the benefit of the doubt no matter what. So I think that's another thing we gotta consider.
Jake, if it was any other defender, I would be like, yeah, you're right. But since it's Bradbury, Bradbury's cooked.
He's cooked this year. He's cooked this year.
Bradbury's just cooked.
Oh, he was cooked this year for sure.
This year's cooked. Last year, nah, he was all pro.
If it was anyone else, I would have been like, yeah, you're right.
Nah.
But nah, it's Bradbury we're talking about.
But going off of that, that is probably the one point I can't debate. I totally agree with you. The only thing I can maybe say in rebuttal is, yes, there was great defenders, but Brady's, I think we can all agree pretty much Brady's tenure, the Patriots had a top 5 and better defense throughout that. So he also had that kind of defense, but I get it. He never had that Ray Lewis, the Troy Polamalu's, the Brian Urlachers, none of those guys, but still the top-notch defense.
He beat the Legion of Boom.
I get it.
Yes, you can. Yes,
beat themselves.
You can say that. Yeah, they threw the ball, but hey, he was scoring on them. That's all I gotta say. He scored on them enough.
I will get it. But the Legion of Boom did enough where they should have won that game. It was their offense.
He did.
Yeah, I'll agree that one. Yeah, they should have won.
Yeah. And also, Brady played in such a bad division.
Versus
whole tenure there.
Look at the Chiefs.
That's a bad division too.
It's not as bad. Come on now. Besides the Raiders, I think anyone in that division would have won in Brady's division.
No, I'm sorry.
You're talking about Justin Herbert's not better than any of those teams.
Herbert, I'm sorry. Herbert's talented, but he hasn't proven yet that he can get over the hump. He blew a 24-point lead. He has had the talent, offensive talent, but yet he can't get the team over the hump. And then the Broncos, no quarterback even this year. That's Russell Wilson, but that's 2 years.
The Broncos haven't been relevant since Manning.
At least Manning, yes. Since then. Since Manning's gone, they haven't been.
And the Raiders are the Raiders.
Raiders are the Raiders. The Raiders had decent runs. Not anything amazing, but decent enough to maybe get you in the playoffs. But
not to overtake the Chiefs. That's the thing. Same thing with the AFC. The Jets, the Bills, the Dolphins. It's the same thing. There's just none of those teams have had the quarterback while the quarterback, Mahomes or Brady, was running the division. It wasn't until Brady left that Josh Allen was running the division now.
I feel like during Brady's tenure, those 3 teams probably had maybe 1, maybe 2 playoff appearances total.
And so
Brady's
far,
whole tenure there.
So far, AFC West.
Chargers made it last year.
Yeah, we also had another playoff spot too.
They weren't the 7th seed.
I'll say this. I think right now the talent in that division is a little bit better than the talent in that Brady era's division. I'll say. But I don't think it makes a difference. I think if there was good talent in that division, I still think Brady wins. So
either way,
I'll give Brayden I'll give him that I will say. But it's also like we're in an era of the average player's talent is way higher than it was back then. So it's an era thing on top of. I give Brayden that one, but I also don't think it really would have made a difference either way. So
I saved it for last, but I just want to put that out there.
I can agree with you, Brayden, but the caveat is that I don't think it would make a difference for Brady.
I just hate Brady. End of debate.
We know. Yeah, this was an easy one for you. You're like, hey Brady, and I have all my points ready.
That was the only reason I was cheering for the Chiefs this year, just so I could say he surpasses Brady.
Yeah, I don't think any of us really can argue that he could do it. Could do it.
Can or will? I don't think we're gonna. Okay, yeah, we know where you stand now, or we have known that for the last, I don't know,
I don't
40
know.
minutes.
Jake, how many? So I know Brayden kind of mentioned that championships aren't everything, but they are a factor. So
I think it's a large
let's say
factor
he
in
doesn't.
football.
I think. I think it plays more. I don't know.
I don't get that. Why it plays more football.
I
I
mean,
don't know. I won't agree with that. But I don't disagree or agree with that. Because I mean, if I'm going to be, I don't know. It's tough because basketball.
I think one player changes the whole team.
I
I
mean,
don't
it,
know. For basketball, it's different. It's for basketball, it's different. I don't know. Irregardless, but I'll continue. So let's say he doesn't catch him in like the stats, like yards, touchdowns, completions, stuff like that. Maybe he gets close, but he doesn't overtake him. How many championships would it take for you to say he's better than Brady, Jake?
I'm gonna say it's gonna depend. If it's like over his whole career, if he gets 5, but he's racked up more MVPs, um, just more, I guess, impressive records. That, or if he's gonna win 3 in a row, which is the question I was gonna pose to you guys. If he wins 3 in a row, will he be better? Because nobody has won 3 in a row. If he wins 3 or 4 in a row, then yeah, he's gonna do something nobody's done.
I guess yeah. Like what would it like? What category would it have? Would he have to dominate? Like if he can't catch him in stats, would it have to be the championships? If he beats him in championships, or if he catches him in stats, but he can't, get the champ. Maybe he only gets 5 championships, but he overtakes him in most yards or something like that. Like
Yeah, I think it would have to be that if he gets 5, say he gets 5, then he would have to overtake Brady in touchdowns and yards, which I think that's definitely possible because he's already, I mean, his first year, right? He threw for 5,000. First year as a starter,
I'll be
5,000
honest,
yards.
I don't know if I see him going for 7.
touchdowns, I think.
I don't know if I see him going for 7 championships.
Yeah, honestly, it's crazy to think that we're saying he's just going to straight up do that. I mean,
I'll be honest. I don't think he goes for 7.
I mean, if anybody can do it, it is him. If he can match it,
Maybe
it's going to be him. But that is a tall task. I don't think any of us would have predicted Brady would have done it. But I think it would have to be the stats. So touchdowns, yards, playoff stats too. I think just that MVPs you have to overtake him, or just maybe consecutive. If he wins another back-to-back, then even that you can do.
I mean, I will say the reason I say that is because during the Brady era, there were really only like a select number of quarterbacks that were kind of on that elite level with Brady. Whereas right now, there's a plethora of quarterbacks that are just kind of we have in that conversation. Mahomes, Allen, Lamar, Burrow.
Brayden's gonna hate this. Mahomes is on his own tier. Josh Allen is not. There's nobody's on the same tier.
I will say Mahomes. I think Mahomes is higher, but I will say the gap between Mahomes and Allen is a lot smaller than the gap between Brady and, let's say, Eli
Peyton.
Manning and Peyton. I don't know. I think the gap between Brady and Peyton is bigger than.
I think the gap between Mahomes and Allen is just as big.
Or not necessarily. Not necessarily. Okay, let's say Mahomes is a tier above, but I think there's more quarterbacks in that one tier right below him than there are when Brady was in that tier above and those quarterbacks right below.
I can agree with that.
That's what I was trying to say. That's what I meant to say.
That.
Okay.
I agree with you.
That makes more sense. Yeah. I will say I do. Okay, yeah. I do agree Mahomes is a just a tier higher, right? But yeah, there's more right below him than there was right below Brady.
Yeah, I can't agree with that.
I think the talent right now in this era is a lot higher than the talent during the Brady era.
Yeah, I think there's just a lot of good quarterback play in this modern NFL. So I definitely agree.
I mean, Yeah, so that's why I personally don't think he could get to 7. I mean, he's the one quarterback that I feel could have a chance, but it's just going to be hard because there's just so much talent right now around the league.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. It's going to be him. It's going to be anybody, but I just feel bad for everyone in the AFC. Sorry, they got to go through him. Yeah, it hurts. Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, eventually CJ Stroud. Every year they got to compete with that. Every year just to get into the Super Bowl. He's pretty much the gatekeeper, like how we said before.
Yeah, so. Pretty much. All right, LeBron versus Jordan. Let's go.
So we're all on the same team for that. So.
No, yeah. So that should wrap up our debate. Maybe we can continue this another time when we have more ammunition. We'll see. Yeah, I think we'll probably pick this up sometime later in the future. So, yeah, let us know. Yeah, keep an eye on it. If he gets,
we'll probably post one of these clips on the Instagram. So, leave us a comment on one of the Instagram posts. Who do you think, Brady or Mahomes?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I feel like there's a lot more Brady haters than there are. I don't know.
100%. No, definitely more Brady.
I feel like
there is
more Brady, just because Brady's been in the league for so long that just he's had a chance to just make every fan base miserable. So
it's Brady and Belichick. Remember, Belichick's just that stone face, this one emotion. Whereas,
so I think
everybody loves Andy Reid.
There's probably more Brady haters.
Can we not bring up that memories now?
But yeah, let us know in the comments here whose side you're on. If you agree with Bryson, Brady's still a GOAT, or if you're on Brayden's side where Mahomes has overtaken Brady already at age 28. So yeah, let us know in the comments. And before we wrap up for our next video, you guys have anything further on Brady, Mahomes, or just anything, whatever you guys want to throw at?
I said in the last video, marching with the death beam, one last throw. I'm taking Mahomes.
Okay.
I love that one. Right. Love that one. But yeah. No, thanks for watching, everybody. Yeah, make sure to check out our next video where we're gonna just preview, go over free agency in the upcoming weeks. So franchise tags, just free agent players who we think they're gonna sign with, stuff like that. So make sure to check that video out. And until next time, shoots.